the Emerald Isle, the poetic name for Ireland, where rolling hillsides, misty coastlines, and farm to table are what you can expect every single day. Welcome to Wedaways, Getaways, the virtual fam option because we can't be there in person quite yet. Wedaways is a dual-sided marketplace. Wedaways.com is a search engine featuring luxury properties around the world that cater to the wedding and honeymoon markets, and our Virtuoso affiliated travel agency led by Pamela and her team work with wedding planners and engaged couples in venue searches, booking room blocks, ground transfers, excursions, and of course, the cherry on top, amazing honeymoons. Today we're visiting with Lisa from Great Southern Killarney and Elaine from the K Club and Straffen House, all in the glorious southern part of Ireland. And Pamela is on the call. If anyone has a question, you can shoot it in the chat box or send it to us in a text and we'll address those questions. And of course, if you're watching this online or on YouTube, just send us a message to hello@wedaways.com and we'll definitely get back to you. And you'll be able to see on the homepage of our website, both, or I should say all three, Great Southern Killarney, the K Club, and Straffen House will be on the homepage for 2 weeks, so you can definitely check them out at your fingertips without a lot of searching on the site to find them. Greetings, ladies, 2 redheads in the crowd. It's fabulous. Welcome. You're still on mute. We can't quite hear you. Just to say a little short.
Hello, fellow redhead.
Hello, fellow redhead. 3 of us.
Hello, delighted to be here.
It's so awesome. It's so awesome. You know, Lisa, the name on your screen, of course, is not Lisa. It's spelled in a way that most of us wouldn't know how to pronounce. Can you share with us how you say that name?
It's pronounced Aveen. Aveen, yeah. So the BH is a V sound in the Irish language. So we have a lot of names like that, like Niamh and Aveen, that we just like to confuse everybody outside of Ireland with. But you can call me Lisa, don't worry.
I'll call you Lisa. That's very easy. That's great. Okay, well, speaking of Lisa, we're going to start with you. If you share with us Great Southern Killarney, which we know is part of the wonderful group, the Hayfield Group.
Perfect. Okay.
We're delighted.
I will share away here. So, can everybody see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. So here we are. This is the front view of Great Southern Killarney. Great Southern is a member of Preferred Hotels and Resorts, and LVX or Lux member of Hotels or of Preferred. And we're also a very proud member of Historic Hotels Worldwide also. So this is me. My name is not Aveen. It is Lisa Leahy, and I'm the Collection Sales and Marketing Director for the Hayfield Family Collection. And I've worked for the collection for 13 years now. And actually Great Southern, although it's our oldest property, it is actually the newest property to our group, which is a family run hotel group. So this is the family that own all 3 of our hotels, and they're 3rd generation hoteliers. So just a little bit about our group and where we're at. So we're called the Hayfield Family Collection. We're in the southwest of Ireland, and we have Hayfield Manor, which is in Cork, Killarney Royal, which was the original family hotel, and more recently, in the last 5 years, the family bought the iconic Great Southern Killarney. So you can see from the map here, we're in the southwest of Ireland, and I suppose just taking Ireland overall as a destination, why choose Ireland for a wedding or even for a honeymoon? Apart from the amazing weather that we have year-round, the main reason that people will choose Ireland is because of the scenery and the people. But also, I suppose, we are an English-speaking destination. So for North American clients, We're a very easy destination to arrange a wedding in. And we're also seen as a very safe destination as well. And unfortunately, with what we're all going through now with the pandemic, Ireland is handling the pandemic very well so far. So we expect to have a lot of international travellers winging their way to Ireland once everybody gets the okay to travel. Yeah, fingers crossed, fingers crossed. So you can see the gold section down at the end is Cork and Kerry, and the Great Southern is based in Killarney in the County of Kerry. So once you've chosen to have your destination wedding in Ireland, then you're spoiled for choice in terms of locations. But it's fair to say, I think, that Kerry is probably one of the best known destinations in Ireland. And this is coming from a Cork woman. So it's hard for me to admit that, being a Corkonian. But I'm just going to show you some of the iconic landscape of Kerry now. So you've got a lot of people will have heard of the King of Kerry, which is one of Ireland's most famous drives. We're also on the Wild Atlantic Way as well, which is another very famous coastal route from the south of Ireland right up to the north. So this is the Gap of Dunlow, Skellig Michael, which Star Wars fans will know was recently Luke Skywalker was camping out there in the last couple of Star Wars. I think you can see him there somewhere on the island in the background. And Killarney, of course, is world famous for golf. So we have very famous championship courses like Ballybunion, Dukes, Hogshead most recently, and what you see on your screen there is the Killarney Golf and Fishing Club. So you can see we've got spoiled for choice. Killarney is also very famous for its lakes, and you can see why just looking at that picture right there. And of course, our built heritage as well. So we have, we're spoiled for choice in terms of castles and stately homes. This is Mucker's House, which is kind of the center point of the beautiful Killarney National Park. And so in the middle of Kerry, you find the town of Killarney. And Killarney is a fantastic, bustling tourist town. It's a very friendly town. It's very safe and enjoyable, fantastic atmosphere, especially at night, music coming out of various establishments. And right in the heart of Killarney is Great Southern, and Great Southern was built or was opened in 1854, so it's very, very unique in that it is a town centre property, but equally it has a country house aspect. So it's built on 6 acres of beautiful landscape grounds. So you kind of get the best of both worlds at Great Southern, in that you're like two minutes from the main street of town, but you also have all these lovely walks and cycles around the gardens. And I suppose that's really because the town grew up around the hotel rather than the hotel being placed in the town. And as you can see, we have fabulous views off to the famous Kerry Mountains as well. So it's fair to say we've got a fair bit of experience under our belts in terms of looking after wedding couples, as you can see. But funnily enough, actually, like a wedding is the pinnacle of everything that we do in the Great Southern. There's nothing like a wedding day in Great Southern because it's so exciting. And we all love seeing the red carpet go out, and actually, or the cream carpet in this case. We did a survey recently actually, and of wedding couples to find out like why did they choose Great Southern. And this front steps, this iconic image on the front steps was one of the main reasons that people wanted to get married at the hotel. So it's lovely to see, as you can see, tradition continues right to this day with people getting their wedding photos taken on the hotel steps. And the other very unique thing, I think, and it's actually really by default for our little group of hotels, is that each of our hotels has got a blazing fireplace the minute you step inside the door. And that wasn't by design, but we're just lucky enough that that is the case. And this is the beautiful fireplace just inside the door at Great Southern. I suppose back in the days when they didn't have central heating, this would have been very lovely and welcoming for people when they hopped off their carriages. And the Great Southern, The architect who built Great Southern was just given one remit, and it was to take the visitor's breath away. And I can tell you that every time I walk into the Grand Foyer at Great Southern, it is breathtaking. It is just such a special place. What a place to walk into on your wedding day. So that's the Grand Foyer there. It's a Victorian hotel, so we've managed throughout all these years to retain stunning Victorian features throughout the property. Brown's Bar, as you can see here, is one of the top kind of meeting places in Killarney, because we're just very close to the train station. So you'll often find people gathering and then running for the train, because it's like about 30 seconds away from the hotel doors. So that's Brown's. And then we have the iconic garden room as well, which is where our wedding guests would enjoy their breakfast the next day. And just in terms of rooms, we have 177 bedrooms, and unusually we have a host of magnificent Victorian junior suites and grand suites as well, as you can see here, which would be probably the choice for the wedding couples. And uniquely as well, we have a Victorian cottage just across from the main door of the hotel. So this space is often taken by the bride and her wedding party the night before the wedding, so that they have complete privacy, but they can all have the fun of sharing this house together. And we're all into the steps in Killarney, as you can see here. This is one of our internal staircases. And I suppose the historic backdrop is really the most special thing about the hotel, and why people will choose the hotel in the first place. These two little girls here waiting bride is one of my favorite pictures ever, I have to say. But also in terms of location, we're right near in the town centre, so we're right near the cathedral, which if anyone is going for a religious ceremony tends to be the place to go. But equally, we also have magnificent venues right on site for civil ceremonies as well, and for humanist ceremonies. And we uniquely, we have a ballroom, a purpose-built ballroom at the hotel, which is kind of self-contained. So this is the walkway to the ballroom. And then we have a lovely outside terrace, which leads out onto the gardens for drinks in the summertime when we get the nice weather. Meanwhile, the bride can be out in the gardens getting her photography done. And then this is our light foyer, which is also where drinks receptions would take place. And then on into the ballroom, we always like to, make an entrance in Ireland. So this is the veiled entranceway that the bride and groom would walk through into the main ballroom, which you can see here, which we've gone for a very neutral palette on this picture, but it can be themed and it has many light-changing features. But just to keep it nice and neutral depending on people's taste, and they can go from there. And I suppose at the end of the evening, then most people end up in the bar, which is, a tradition in all Irish weddings. I think it's actually mandatory that you have to end up in the bar, actually. But you can see here, there's a lovely private venue for our couples at the end of the night. Now, for the international market, like Irish weddings tend to be really big weddings. So you can kind of have 200, 300, up to 600 people at a wedding. But our international weddings tend to be a bit smaller. So I did include some of our smaller spaces as well, which are perfect for the kind of 80 to 100. This space here is the picture room, which is perfect for up to 30 people. And actually it is, I was going to say my favorite room in the hotel, my second favorite, because this is my favorite. This is the lake room, which can seat up to 80 people, and absolutely stunning for a wedding celebration. And then this is one of our other venues as well, which can seat up to 100 people. And I suppose I can't let people off my section without talking about Irish food and how much we firstly love food in Ireland, and how much we love to promote our local produce and sustainability. And especially at Great Southern, we're very, very proud of our local suppliers, and we have a wonderful chef who just simply cooks things to perfection. And I suppose for anyone who's planning to have a wedding here in Ireland, you know, we are here to help. We love weddings. There's two things we do great in Ireland. We do great funerals and fantastic weddings. So we're here to help with floral decor, wedding suppliers, photographers, accommodation options, transport, ceremonies, and we will work with Wedaways to make all of those things as easy as possible for our wedding couples. And just very quickly, there's so much to do in Killarney. It's so hard to choose, but I suppose some of the iconic things are to get out on the lakes, golf, of course, and then you can see the horse and trap there, which is actually in the gardens of Great Southern. Is they're called jaunting cars, and nobody is allowed to leave Killarney without going on a jaunting car ride. So that is another obligatory stop in Killarney. So I suppose just very quickly, what the feedback is from our couples. Even though, as you've seen, we have the most amazing architecture and beautiful surroundings, it's always the staff that get the mention, which it says a lot. I suppose it says a lot about us as a nation, and what we're about as a company. You know, we really strive for exceptional service and personal service, and you can see that whenever we do any surveys, it's all about the staff. And we're delighted to work with Wedaways. We have two amazing wedding planners at Great Southern. So we have Denise and Rachel, and they are always there to help. They're very experienced. They've worked with couples across the globe. They love a challenge. Just, I suppose every wedding is about that special moment, and we get photos back from all our couples, and this is the best for us when we get the feedback from them, and when they send us on their pictures, and we know that we have, you know, made their special day come true. So that's us at Great Southern.
Wow, brava, beautiful. I have a couple of questions that were texted to me. Which is the best airport to fly into since you're Southwest?
Yeah, so there's a number of options, but I suppose transatlantic would probably be Shannon. So Shannon is about an hour and a half from Killarney, but you can also fly to Dublin as well. It depends on the route that you're taking, but Shannon would be the most direct route. Also, you can fly into London and then come across to Cork or Kerry directly that way. But the vast majority of our North American clients will fly into Shannon or Dublin airports.
Lisa, you showed us the three spaces, one with the domed ceiling and the other two. The domed ceiling, you said, is where guests go for breakfast. So that's the breakfast area. The first part of the question is, can that room be hired privately for the wedding?
Yes, yes. So we can do ceremonies in that room. And we do weddings in that room as well, and it is absolutely stunning, absolutely stunning. So yeah, good question, whoever asked that one. They were obviously really paying attention.
Yeah. And then they also asked, but then the room will get turned over because it will always be open for breakfast, correct?
Yes, yes. Now, I suppose sometimes we can do, depending, like we're very flexible, but sometimes if we have a wedding and they're taking enough rooms, then we can do, for the other guests, we could do breakfast in the event center, so that it's almost like an exclusive hire. It depends on the time of the year. We don't do it very often, but we'll consider all requests and try and make it work.
The other two restaurants the other two spaces that you mentioned that have the flat ceilings, are those restaurants that you turn over?
No, they're venues. So they are private venues. Yeah. Yeah. So one is the picture room, which can do about 30 to 40 people, and then there's the lake room, which can do up to 80 people. So they are private dining venues.
But that's not the room with the stripes.
The room with the stripes is the picture room. Yeah.
That's the picture room. Okay. All right. So I wasn't. And finally, I wanted to ask, since there's 177 rooms and you've got, the spaces and the event pavilion, what are the music restrictions? I know they're on our site under your profile, but just so we can have an idea of the different various venues.
So if you're using the ballroom, then there are no restrictions because it's a purpose-built event centre. So if you do want to dance the night away, that is the place to go. And it is really great because it's purpose-built and it's overlooking the gardens. If you're using the Victorian part of the building, it's normally kind of like normal pub closing time, which would be kind of 11:30 or 12. But it depends on the time of year, the day of the week, which way the wind is blowing, you know.
Very Irish. That sounds like an Irish statement. That's very funny. I wonder if that came from Ireland, that statement.
Yeah.
All right. Well, very interesting. There's one picture that you shared with us, Lisa, that I saw we do not have on our site. It's the room with the, it's the setup where you have the bar cart on the right with the various lemons, I think. That image.
Oh, yeah.
There.
The light foyer.
Yeah, the light foyer. That's a very beautiful image. That would be
Okay.
good. All right.
We
Well,
will send that on. Perfect. Thank
Beautiful.
you, Renee.
Thank you. All right. Well, we are going over to the K Club and Straffen House. Miss Elaine, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
Very unique properties. We're very excited to see.
Thank you so much, and delighted to be here and part of Wedaways presentation. It's fantastic. My name is Elaine Dunn. I'm the Assistant Director of Sales here at the K Club. We are a beautiful property located in Kildare. I have a little trouble here at my...
Kildare, thus the K Club, just in case anyone...
Thus the Clay Club, yes, exactly. So set on 550 acres, located in County Kildare, which is just 30 minutes from Dublin Airport or 35 minutes from Dublin City Centre. So great location in terms of access and so on. You really get a sense of being in the countryside, I suppose, when you arrive to the property. Another great feature, I suppose, in terms of our location would be that just the access to other amenities that are close by for guests to enjoy, especially when you're traveling international and you're going to spend 2, 3, maybe 5 days with us. So there's the great Kildare shopping village, which is just 30 minutes from the property, really high-end luxury experience. You're very close to Dublin City, as I said, so great sightseeing there. And also you're in the heart of horse country, actually, in Kildare. So famous for horse racing and famous actually for horse breeding. And our national stud is actually government owned. That's a great day out and a really, really lovely experience as well for guests to really get a sense of place, I suppose. A little bit more about the K Club. So we date back to 1832, and this is actually a picture of the original house. So still forms part of the main hotel today, with stunning original features, Waterford crystal chandeliers still hanging today, and it's a really, really special place. Founded by the Barton family. So you may have heard of the Irish wine geese. They went to Bordeaux or France to make their fortune in wine, and the Barton family did that. But during the French Revolutionary times, the family came back to Ireland. They had set up a successful business with Barton and Gustier or B&G Wines, and that's still our house wine today, which is fantastic. It's still there. But they built the home in the style of French chateau, and it was called Straffen House. So that's where the story began. It didn't open as a hotel until, it was a private home up until 1989 and opened as a hotel in 1991. So 5-star luxury property in a 5-star luxury property opened with 30 bedrooms initially, which is quite special. Here you have the house today. So you can see the original house there on the right hand side, and then it's been extended over time, but they've really kept the features throughout the whole property. You still feel like, even if you're in the newest wing of the property that was built 5 years ago, you still feel that you're in the original country house, which is really, really nice. I suppose what's quite unique for the K Club is definitely the stunning grounds. As I said, we're on 550 acres of grounds, so beautiful manicured gardens. We're right on the River Liffey, which is the same river that actually runs through Dublin City. So guests can fish on that lake. You can go kayaking on the lake. We even had a groom come up the boat in this river, should I say. In the river, we had the groom come up the boat and arrive at the ceremony on our private island by boat, which was quite unique. In terms of accommodation, we've 134 bedrooms in total. We've beautiful from our standard rooms through to our deluxe rooms, and also our suites. We've got 16 suites in total. So these would be the rooms that we'd be allocating to our couples, of course. We do have options for buyouts as well. So if you were to buy out the property, we'd usually look for a minimum of a 2-night buyout of all 134 rooms. But what that guarantees then is the couple have exclusive use of the whole property and the grounds as well. So a great option for your destination wedding. In terms of, I suppose, what makes us unique and stand out, it's definitely, I suppose, the history that's attached to the property, and that we can really bring that to life in the couple's wedding day. The grounds are spectacular, create wonderful photography moments for our couples as well. Our food and beverage experience, we are very proud to source local Irish produce, and of course our people as well. So I think time and time again, people buy from people, they don't buy tables and chairs, as they say. And it's that connection and that rapport that we build with our couples and our planners throughout the whole process that really makes it special for them and for us, and so memorable. The property itself, the original house itself, so you've got all these beautiful drawing rooms for guests to enjoy. We have beautiful restaurants throughout as well. So you have the main house itself with the Barton restaurant, which will be our fine dining restaurant. We have the River Room and we have the Henry Lounge as well that has like an all-day dining menu available. But in addition to that, we've got 2 clubhouses, so more casual dining available there as well, such as our K-Thai menu and also our Legends restaurant menu, which would be predominantly steak and fish. So some lovely options throughout the resort for guests to enjoy if they're going to be with us for a number of days. And then just to come back, I suppose, to the setting for a wedding. So stunning options in terms of ceremony on site. We are located in Straffen Village, so we've got lovely churches very close by as well. And we actually have a wedding car, a Maybach, that we include for couples if they'd like to leave from the hotel down to the church. And then stunning locations on the property for an outdoor ceremony. We'll always hold a backup space just in case, because we can't guarantee the Irish weather, but we will always have a indoor space held just in case, and we make that call with the couple on the morning themselves. I said a little bit earlier on, we have an island. So the bottom right picture there is actually the picture of a ceremony set up on the island. So a more rustic feel, but still really special and beautiful when the wildflowers and so on are in full bloom. Here is actually the original house itself. So coming back out onto the lawns, post drinks for after ceremony or church are held here, and you've got the drawing rooms of the house and they lead onto the terrace. So it's really beautiful. And then stunning dining options in terms of numbers. So anywhere from 10 guests we can cater for up to 350 guests. So there's different options throughout the property and the resort, which is great to have. Probably one of our most famous images is this one of our couples walking across the bridge. So our larger ballroom spaces are in our 2 clubhouses. We've got the Parma Room and we've got the Legacy Suite. We include a bagpiper in our package as well. So they do the dinner call and call guests for dinner and walk with them over to the clubhouse. And it's like a 5-minute walk, but it's beautiful. You're through the Irish countryside, you're crossing over the river, and it's a really, really lovely experience. And then our Legacy Suite, that can cater for up to 350 guests on rounds. Average wedding size, I would say, is probably 110 guests in Ireland on average for ourselves. In terms of enjoying the resort while you're here, especially for our couples that are going to be with us for a couple of days, we have a beautiful spa on site. Naturabise is the product that we use there. We have 8 treatment rooms, and we have a couples treatment room as well, which is really lovely to experience. And then we've an array of activities on the resort. So as I said earlier, you can go fishing, kayaking on the river. We've got bikes where guests can have a cycle around our resort. We've 6 kilometre of walking and running trails around the resort. Horse riding, shooting activities, and we've also a beautiful wine cellar actually in the original house, where guests can do a wine cellar tour. They can do wine and cheese tasting down there. It's a really lovely experience. And in addition to all of that, we also have the Straffen Inn. So the K Club is located in Straffen Village, and we actually own the local pub. So you get a real Irish experience there. So it's a great day 2 option. And guests can have that exclusively for their day 2 if they wanted to have like a barbecue or an Irish experience on day 2. It's really nice to have and enjoy. That's mainly it for the K Club. I am going to move on to Straffen House. So Straffen House is located on the grounds of the resort, and it was built actually to replicate the original Straffen House. So this was built when back in 1990 when the hotel actually opened, but still beautifully constructed. It's very private, beautiful driveway up to the property. It looks out onto the golf course. We hire this exclusively. It has 10 bedrooms in total, with your own private chef and your own butler as well for throughout your stay. For dining here and for weddings, it's actually stunning. We can do up to 30 guests on banquet rounds. This is the main dining room, and it interconnects into the drawing room and a terrace area as well. Apologies. So it interconnects into the drawing room and main foyer area as well. So there's plenty of space here. You can have your civil ceremony here within the house, and also then enjoy the drawing rooms and the terraced area and the dining spaces as well for the wedding. But not only all of that, you've got your own private pool with swim up bar, stunning accommodations throughout, all en suite. You can comfortably fit 20 adults in the Straffen House. You've got your own private cinema, which offers something a little bit different for guests to enjoy. And it's just something very unique and very special, I suppose, to offer within the Day Club Resort itself.
And it has beautiful gates when you enter.
Stunning iron wrought gates, yeah, and a beautiful driveway down to the property. It's really very special.
One of my favorite memories was when I crossed that bridge. I actually have a picture of it somewhere. I was looking for it, but the property is so imposing when you drive in through the golf course and you're going on this ride, and then you see the property. It's just striking. And I remember when I was there waiting for Alina, who I know is no longer.
Yes.
She has a very cute baby, but we were waiting in one of the drawing rooms, and there were a lot of young people there. And I remember, just chatting up a little bit. And 2 of the couples told us that they had gotten married there the year prior. And
oh, wow.
For their anniversaries. Yeah. It was
that's special.
It was really, really lovely. So do you often have buyouts of the property? Because it's huge.
We do. It is a big property. In terms of wedding buyouts, maybe not so much, but we definitely work very closely with our couples to give large wedding blocks, especially for international weddings. But it's absolutely possible, and we have done it in the past. It just offers something a little bit different if the couple want that unique, exclusive experience.
Right. And both of you ladies, could you comment on this? For years, Irish food wasn't something people talked about as
Yeah.
highlight of their experience. But I remember when I went and I rented a car and I was very brave and I did the drive and even Lisa, on the very beginning, one of the very beginning photos that you showed, you know, the roads are so narrow, and they really are, and you're like trying to get past somebody. But the food, I thought, and I had just come from, I was on like a 3-week trip to Europe, and I had just come from a few days in Italy and a few days in France, and then I hit Ireland, and I was blown away by the food. What do you hear from people?
Just I suppose from
Great.
my perspective, like when I first started doing this job, was my first time traveling for work to the United States, and so when I would go over, I'd be talking about, because where I'm from, Cork is known as gourmet Cork, so I'd just be mentioning that, and then I'd see people kind of laughing in my presentations, you know, and I didn't realize at all that we had a bad food reputation in North America, and I think that is not down to Irish food. I think that's down to North American Irish pubs, not wanting to, you know, blame anyone, but I was shocked, actually, shocked that we didn't, because we have an amazing food culture in Ireland, and it's only getting stronger and stronger, and you know, we have a huge diversity of food, and I suppose we have a lot of European influences as well. Yeah, I was actually really stunned that we didn't have a good food reputation. I don't know about you, Elaine. Did you experience
Yeah,
that?
I totally agree with what you're saying there. And we are like, we're just so proud, I suppose, of the produce that we use, the ingredients that we use, and the thought process that goes into the dishes that we offer and so on. The food culture is so strong in Ireland, and we have our foodies, and we're all about our food and our wine, you know, so we want people to, yeah, that's what we're all about. Good food, good service, you know, with a smile. It's
Yeah,
important.
you said food and wine. Let's not forget how many kinds of beers there are there.
Yeah.
And gin. There's a gin revolution happening
There
here
is
in
indeed.
Ireland. I even saw the Cake Club. You've got your own blend of gin there, like this.
We do. We've
yeah,
a rhubarb gin. So the rhubarb is grown actually in Straffen. So it's a strain of rhubarb unique to this area. And our sommelier Lisa, she distills the gin with the rhubarb to get that lovely pink color and flavor. It's gorgeous.
That's amazing. Well,
Yeah.
I know as a guest experience to arrive in either of the locations of your properties, I mean, flying into Dublin and spending a few nights there, and then driving out to the countryside and arriving to the K Club, and then on the other side, when you're in the area of Great Southern, in Killarney, that village, I mean,
Beautiful.
incredible properties, one in the city center, but definitely in a state where you're completely private, and the other one on a country club experience just outside the city. Driving through, I guess we call it Southern Ireland, but you don't. You're just Ireland and then Northern Ireland. So when you drive through Ireland, I mean, you can make that whole drive in just a few days, 8 days or 8 nights in the country, and visiting the 2 properties, you know, in the 2 different locations would be a really magical experience. And I have to remark on the fact, Elaine, that you said Waterford crystal chandeliers. Waterford, good grief, it's right there. I mean,
yeah.
what?
Yeah, it's stunning. I know, they're stunning, and they're made for the house, and you actually can see Straffen House has been etched into the largest crystal ball that hangs down. SH, it's initialed into the crystal. So yeah, there's a long history of Waterford crystal, obviously, in Ireland. It's
yeah. I mean, there's so much to offer. And I always remind people there may only be 6 million people on the Emerald Isle, but there are 36 million Americans of Irish descent, which is phenomenal in terms of numbers. And I don't know anyone of Irish descent that I've ever met and I've ever come across. And I would say, because of the business that I was in for so many years in a retail bridal salon, I must have met thousands of people from Irish descent. There's not one person that doesn't long to go to Ireland if they've never been. And how many other people have it, you know, as a highlight of where they want to visit. It's so convenient. So let's hope that the world opens back up for 2021, if, you know, and the years are going quickly anyway, so even 2022, we'll take what we can get. Pamela, was there any question that came in that didn't come to me that you wanted to include, or are we all caught up?
I think that Lisa, Elaine, you answered all of the questions really wonderfully. Sometimes we'll get some questions after the fact. We'll always shoot those over to you. But I just want to reiterate what a wonderful destination Ireland is, what a foodie destination Ireland is. Like we were saying, there used to be reputation, but the food is just phenomenal, and all types of drinks. So it's a good time for a wedding, and just a beautiful destination in general.
It's such an experience to go, and you know, I mean, everybody speaks English, so that's really easy. So
if you can understand the accents, Renee.
Yeah.
your accent is amazing, very easy to understand. Ladies, from our families to yours, we wish you a wonderful festive season, and we're so appreciative that you came on with us. You can send us your, I think Elaine, you already did, but you can send your email presentations. We will add the PDFs to your property profiles on the site, and we will stay in touch. And everyone that's watching, we really appreciate you tuning in. You can find the beautiful profiles for Great Southern Killarney, K Club, the K Club, and Straffen House on Wedaways.com. And we look forward to seeing you next week. We have some great webinars on schedule. Check out the webinars page on Wedaways.com. And we look forward to seeing you all soon. Thank you so much. Mwah, mwah. Ciao.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.